Hey guys, James Sharmack here in the Nerd Room for episode 1 of a podcast I'm calling Conversations in the Nerd Room. Pretty much where I just want to go off for a little while or whatever amount of time it takes to talk about a topic, like a nerd-related topic, a genre-related topic, whatever. Something along those lines. Could be about anything. So, this episode's going to be about the Netflix Marvel series. How they got implemented, where they are at, and if there's a future for them. So, if you guys like it, let me know. I'm really hoping this will take off, but we'll see how it goes. So, anyways, let's start the conversation. So, let's talk about the implementation of Marvel Television, and without Marvel Studios, it wouldn't happen. So, the story goes, you probably know, but we'll talk anyways. In the mid-2000s, after seeing the success of properties they've sold off to Sony and 20th Century Fox, such as the X-Men films and the Spider-Man films, Marvel decided they wanted to do in-house movies. So they made an agreement with Paramount Studios to create what they called the Marvel Studios, to take characters that they had rights to, such as Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, among others, which were considered C-grade heroes at the time, and try to make franchises out of them, with the grand experiment being Iron Man, which was released in 2008. And you know where the history went. It was a huge success. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. So it basically started off creating the universe. So come 2010, after the sequel came out and showed that you could implement more Marvel characters in it, Marvel Studios created an offshoot, more or less, called Marvel Television. At the time, Marvel Studios was becoming acquired by Disney, so Disney created Marvel Television as well, with Jeff Loeb at the head. It was their intention to try to create series that would tie into the MCU, give it a sense of it's all connected, while doing other character-related properties such as Spider-Man in cartoon or Avengers in cartoon form or whatever. But for live action, they wanted to do shows that did connect to the MCU, but had enough distance that, didn't affect movies or whatever. But at the time, they also wanted to create shows that, if they were successful, you might see a character in a movie down the line. So, off the bat, they wanted to do a Hulk reboot TV show, or that was an idea being pitched around. Cloak and Dagger was an idea, among others. And then eventually, in 2013, Marvel announced that they were creating 4 different series and a limited series to tie into each other, but they were seeking out a buyer. They had Amazon was interested. They had basically cable on demand was interested, and of course Netflix. And Netflix scooped them up, and it was revealed that the four heroes that was going to follow would be Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, culminating with the Defenders, a limited series where they're all going to fight in a team in a big crossover event. Now, this is supposed to total about 60 episodes at a time, and like I said, it was shot around to several outlets. When it was announced by Netflix at November 2013 that they would be airing them, and Disney would spend $200 on these shows altogether, but Netflix would release them. And it all came to a head when Daredevil premiered in April 2015, and the series would follow suit with their releases. Daredevil premiered, as I said, in April 2015, and it was unlike anything you've probably seen on TV. It was violent. It was gunning for the adult audience. It was highly character driven. It focused on Matt Murdock, who was a very conflicted man over basically almost anything: faith, uh, his own vigilantism, his law firm, his distancing of his secrets to the people he knew, what drove him, a lot of things. But it was, like I said, unlike anything you've probably seen in a comic show, because it was geared toward the adult audience. It wasn't trying to sell a Happy Meal or sell an action figure. It wanted to tell a character arc, wanted to tell a character story. And it was surprising in its success. It ruled its male audience according to the ratings. It was one of the highest downloaded shows at the time. So it was seen as a success. I mean, with the next one being Jessica Jones, which is even more of a down-to-earth, more of a personalized story where she's fighting her demons as well, besides the person from her past coming around and threatening to destroy it all as would happen. Moving onward, Luke Cage premiered after that, featuring a man who's also, all these characters are damaged. They're trying to make amends. They're trying to either make amends or forget about the past or just go on with life. They're not trying to be the hero. Sometimes they're just circumstances. And Luke Cage just wants to go to Harlem and, forget who he was, but life finds a way. And then you have Iron Fist, who his whole thing is he's trying to tell people who he is. He's telling people who he's the Iron Fist, the immortal Iron Fist, and he's Danny Rand or whatever. And he's surprised that people don't know who he is. So it's kind of a departure from the other shows because I don't know, you just get tired of hearing him being the same guy, being kind of entitled, whatever. And they made the mistake of making him being the main focus in the Defenders, where he was the key to what was going on, and that turned audiences off. Is that where the Marvel shows started to go downwards? I don't know. I can't really tell you. I enjoyed a few of them. But I can't really tell you if that's where the downward spiral started. But there might be an easier answer to that. So things are going okay for the Marvel Netflix shows. It had successes and failures, but on the whole, shows have done a lot worse on Netflix. It was so successful that they actually had a spin-off from the Daredevil season 2, where they gave the Punisher, who was a recurring character in that season, his own television show, which was an success. But in late 2017, Disney announced that they would eventually start their own streaming service in 2019 called Disney Plus, and they would stop doling out their content to all the other streamers by the end of 2018. It's not to say that they wouldn't dole out the licensed stuff like, say, the Netflix shows, but like, say, a Star Wars Last Jedi, that they have an agreement with Netflix to show. They're going to show for like 6 months, and then they're going to pull it back to their own streaming service or whatever. And basically all the Disney content that they've had an agreement to air on the other channels that weren't already created specifically for the channel would be back in-house. So if you want, say, the Marvel films themselves, you want, say, Disney films, you have to go to Disney Plus and pay some more money for that to watch their form of Netflix. But it is what it is, right? So in 2018, Netflix decided, as the content is disappearing, they're going to start canceling the Marvel Netflix shows. Now, you think it would just be because of ratings or stuff or whatever, but it started off with the Iron Fist getting canceled pretty much right after that season premiered. Nobody really thought anything of it because it was mediocre at best, and it didn't really have a fan base, so that was kind of expected. Then after that, Luke Cage got canceled, which people kind of took notice because it wasn't a bad show. It had a few bumps, but people enjoyed it. And then the biggest outcry of all was when Daredevil got canceled. It was right after, or a month after the season 3 premiere, and one of the best TV seasons I've ever seen. But Netflix decided they were going to cancel it and say, well, might as well cancel it because it was such a great show, and, well, go off on a high note. Am I right? And that, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, kind of put 2 and 2 together and figure that Netflix sees Marvel and Disney as a competitor now. So when they announced that Punisher was going to premiere in January, you kind of put 2 and 2 together and realize that's on borrowed time. Or, they don't even have to show that all together. Anyways, that premiered, and I didn't watch it just because, I had that feeling that it was going to get canceled. I know people watch it. I know people are like, well, might as well watch it anyways, see what happens. But in mid-February, I should say, not only did Punisher get canceled, but Netflix canceled the Jessica Jones, which hasn't even shown its 3rd season yet, but it will. And I'm going to talk about the statements from both Netflix and Marvel Entertainment. So we're going to see how that goes. So on the day the cancellations became official, both Netflix and Marvel Television put out statements to talk about it. So I'm going to start off with the Netflix statement first, and we'll talk about that. This can be found anywhere online, really. So just put in Marvel Netflix cancellation or whatever. Marvel's The Punisher will not return for a 3rd season on Netflix. Showrunner Steve Lightfoot, the terrific crew, and exceptional cast, including star John Bernthal, delivered an acclaimed and compelling series for fans, and we are proud to showcase their work on Netflix for years to come. In addition, in reviewing our Marvel programming, we have decided that the upcoming 3rd season will also be the final season for Marvel's Jessica Jones. We are grateful to showrunner Melissa Rosenberg, star Kristen Ritter, and the entire cast and crew for 3 incredible seasons of this groundbreaking series, which was recognized by the Peabody Awards, among many others. We are grateful to Marvel for 5 years of our fruitful partnership and thank the passionate fans who have followed these series from the beginning. Well, it is what it is, right? I wish that it wasn't in your face about but the line that gets me is the reviewing our Marvel programming. So it's like, they're going after it. They're like saying, what do we have left that we can get rid of before the whole Disney thing? We're probably going to get rid of everything else. So, let's get rid of that too. That way we can focus on our other stuff, which is, kind of annoying, but not unexpected. So, let's talk about the Marvel Television statement, shall we? This is written by Jeff Loeb. You can find it at marvel.com. I'm not going to trust my writing because I can't read my writing to save my life. So we're going to check it on the phone. So this came out February 17th. Marvel, it had never been done before. 4 separate television series, each with different super talented showrunners, writers, directors, cast, and crew, coming out months apart, and then They would meet in a single event series, all set in the heart of New York City. We called them the Defenders. And together we were thrilled by stories of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and even the Punisher joined in. They said it couldn't be done. But Marvel assembled amazing teams to write, produce, direct, edit, and score 13 seasons and 161 one-hour episodes. Take a moment and go online and look at the dazzling list of actors, writers, directors, and musicians who grace us with the very best of their craft. We loved each and every minute of it. And we did it all for you, the fans, who cheered for us around the world and made all the hard work worth it. So thank you. On behalf of Marvel, everyone at Marvel Television, we couldn't be more proud or more grateful to our audience. Our network partner may have decided to no longer want to continue telling the tales of these great characters, but you know Marvel better than that. As Matthew Murdock's dad once said, the measure of a man is not how he gets knocked down to the mat, it's how he gets back up. Now, the last line here is the most important. To be continued. Now, clearly you know Marvel wasn't done. I've heard stories where they were developing Season 4 of Daredevil, what they wanted to do with that. Season 3 of Punisher, what they wanted to do. And Netflix, pulled the rug out from under them. I even saw, Punisher Season 3, basically after the other 3 were being canceled, how that was in development. And I was a bit off about that, but still. These shows were produced and created at Marvel itself. They were just made there and then put out on Netflix to be seen, as per the agreement. So, the chapter's not closed. However, there are problems, or at least one big one right now, so let's talk about that as well. Now, way back in the concept stage of these shows, when the ideas were still being doled out or whatever, there was talk, or at least the idea was from Kevin Feige, that if these characters were successful, they would start going into the MCU film. So you could see, say, Luke Cage in an Avengers film. You could see maybe Daredevil fighting with Captain America or whatever. But it always bothered me that I never saw them, and it may be more contractual as to why. See, Marvel was shopping around with the series, obviously. As I said, they were going to make the series one way or another. They just wanted to find someone who would, agree to air it under Netflix. So Netflix comes in with their own contracts and clauses and whatever. So the real sticking point that gets me is their cancellation clause. Besides the fact that you can't take a character from the show which they own, basically that's another clause. Marvel's going to make it, but we're going to own it, so we're going to air it till whenever. So you can't really take a character from our show and put it in another movie or something. Even with like the Spider-Man deal, you can't take Daredevil and put him in or even Kingpin for that matter, put him in a Spider-Man movie right now. So that that's kind of bums me out. But anyways, Netflix has a clause concerning if they cancel the shows, not so much Marvel or whatever. If they cancel it outright, Marvel cannot use the characters until 2 years after their shows have aired. So what does that mean? That means you can't see Daredevil on anything outside of a Netflix show until 2020. You can't see him in like an Avengers movie, a Spider-Man movie, whatever. You can't see a Luke Cage. You can't see a Iron Fist till 2020. You can't see, Punisher isn't part of the clause. They've actually, because the clause was written in the original contracts, but I'm sure they'll apply to that because he's a character in the Daredevil show. So he can't see Punisher till 2021, can't see Jessica Jones till 2021. But that doesn't mean, as the Marvel statement would say, that they're not working and figuring out what's going to happen. Because, Marvel is going to jump on that trampoline the first opportunity they get because of the fan response to, say, the Daredevil and your Luke Cage getting canceled, and I'm sure your Punisher getting canceled. Well, Punisher's gotten a reaction already. It has Eminem defending, jumping on against Netflix for canceling the Punisher. So, the fan reaction is there, and Marvel is listening. Netflix, not so much, because they want to do more in-house. They want more control over things, I guess. And they are very sore about the Disney Plus. So that means Marvel, obviously can't air anything new for 2 years. Doesn't mean they're not developing anything. I mean, there's going to be a time frame where they're going to be able to, which I could see happening. You could just, because like Daredevil, there was like a time difference between the first series and the second series or whatever. So it's logic. It's a logical leap that you could set it 2 years down the line if you wanted to. But the question is who would air it? Who would show a very adult-rated television show? You can't do it on Disney Plus because that's geared toward the family. You can't do it on ABC because, they have network standards. But what they're saying is possibly because of the Fox acquisition, that's still getting played out. And once that's finalized, Disney will own 60% of Hulu. So as they're already, they've already made a deal with Disney to air 4 Marvel animated series, which is more in the more adult range as well. You have Howard the Duck as a cartoon, so it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Hulu will be airing the say your season 4 Daredevil when that finally comes out, your season 3 Punisher or whatever, because Marvel has said you have not seen the last of these characters in prior statements. So, but the question is, will the audience be there in 2 years? And people are fickle. They don't forget about being spurned. But like the statement from Marvel says, Marvel's not sparing you. It's Netflix. So, Marvel's not done with these characters. So, hopefully, in 2 years, you'll be able to, it'll be like, all wounds are healed. You'll have these shows again. You might get a couple more shows. Who knows? Because streaming could be anything. It's, all it is just a network. Somebody else filmed something. So Marvel could feasibly film like 8 or 9 different additional series. I mean, they do Runaways on Hulu. They do Cloak and Dagger on Freeform. And they're all supposed to be part of the MCU for one. So why not say a Moon Knight or whatever? But yeah, that's my thought on the whole Marvel Netflix thing that's going on. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is my first attempt at a podcast. Let me know how it went. If it went okay, let me know. If it didn't go so well, let me know that too. I'll work on it for the next one. So, my question is, do you guys have any ideas for any future podcast episodes? Let me know in the comments below or whatever, and let me know. Anyways, thank you so much, and hope you'll hear me next time in a conversation in a nerd room.